Welcome to Shelf Help, the channel dedicated to talking into the void about whatever book I happen to be reading. I am your host, the reader. The following review will contain spoilers. Valor, great courage in the face of danger, especially in battle. Boy, are there a lot of battles in this one. If you are not into spraying blood, this one might not be for you. There's a lot of back and forth in this story about right and wrong and ways to fight. Traditionally, wars are fought by two armies that quickly descend into hundreds of individual duels. Status and acclaim are won by the survivors. Nathir introduced the phalanx. It is incredibly effective, but it does not allow for individual glory. No one likes it. Not even Nathir's soldiers. And they're winning. But it is effective. Very effective. It's hard to argue a case for individual glory when you're winning the war. But battle isn't necessarily a clash of swords. And courage is often about facing your own demons. Sometimes more literally than others. This series is a Christian allegory with all the subtlety to make C.S. Lewis proud. Now, there's nothing wrong with Christian allegory, or unsubtle allegory in general. But it's hard to feel like I might be spoiling anything, because this story is going exactly where you think it is. There are no twists, no surprises. Judeo-Christian and Islamic beliefs would have to be completely alien for a reader not to know this story. That's not a slight against the series. It's just what it is. It's what it's meant to be. If you remember from the last book, Corbin is the Christ figure. He's a simple blacksmith's son who makes friends with the weird witchy woman living outside the village, the fisherman's son, the son of an accused coward, a bastard prince, and a former bandit. Yet he treats as an equal the princess, now exiled queen, he's known since childhood. In this book, Corbin and his band of exiles have fled their home after the battle and are now looking for a safe place to land. But Nathir's war is pushing hard to unite the West. When they learn that his sister, Cywin, is alive and a captive of Nathir, they decide to go after her. A handful of people against a seasoned army. Back in Malice, Calidus presented himself as one of the Ben Elm to the leader of the Jihar, a fundamentalist sect that is sworn to serve the Bright Star in the name of the All-Father Elon in the God War. They immediately joined Nathir. These guys have been trained for generations for this war. But some of them broke away, following Mikal in believing Corbin was the Bright Star. These outcast Jihar do join Corbin, but they are still vastly outnumbered. Keep in mind that Nathir isn't the bad guy here. He's the useful idiot. And he is following that road paved with the best of intentions in a downward spiral. Honestly, I feel bad for the guy. It's very obvious that Calidus is using him. He's kind of the perfect pawn. He was the crowned high prince, now high king, no siblings, and likely no real friends. As high prince, literally no one was his equal. Even the sons of other kings are subservient to him. It is bad politics to make the enemy of the future high king. All his life, his peers have probably been strictly instructed to make nice by their parents. The chances he's been called on his shit are close to zero. This leaves his parents. His mother, who seems to have tried to shelter him, and his father, who's obsessed with the God War prophecy. So here comes Calidus, whispering the words Nathir desperately wants to hear. He is the All-Father's chosen. And for those beautiful lies, Nathir raised an army, reinvented war, made alliances, unified the West, and brought together magical items. He did it all for the glory of All-Father Elon and the benefit of Azeroth. Calidus is the real villain. Well, he's the top minion of Azeroth and his messenger. Like Azeroth, he's a fallen angel. Kodashim, and was once one of the Ben Elm. It was this disguise he used to fool both Nathir, Sumer, the head of the Jihir, into following him. Incidentally, I'm pretty sure he never talks about the prophecy while Sumer is present, keeping his twisting of the words away from ears who would probably know them by heart. Nathir, for all his desire to be the chosen, never puts any effort into studying. In the first book, we saw Calidus from Nathir's point of view. He's a wise, kind, older man who offers Nathir everything he wants and needs. In Valor, we see Calidus as he is away from Nathir, through Corbin's sister, Cywin, and through Calidus' servant, the giant Alcyron. He's a lot less kind and wise, and a lot more throat-slit happy. He straight up tells Cywin she is bait for her brother, and he will kill her when she is of no more use. In Malice, Alcyon seemed like a loyal servant and friend. His relationship with Calidus not so different from Nathir's relation with Veridus, his first sword. In Valor, we learn that Calidus has a lock of Alcyon's hair, and with it he can essentially make a voodoo doll and force the giant to do anything. Anything. This is demonstrated by a little clay figure he gave to the pirate Lycos to control Nathir's mother, who is ruling in his absence. In a few months, he's not only poised to marry her and has brought gladiator death matches to the capital, he's also raping her, because he can. Which brings us to Gwynne. In Malice, he was a side character, the shield of Castel, one of the possible heirs to the kingdom of Isiltir. Castel is killed by his cousin Gilles, leaving Gwynne to seek revenge. Unfortunately, he's waylaid and ends up in Lycos' fighting pit. He survives on a bone-deep desire for revenge and spite. Then the moment comes where he has to make a choice. To win his freedom and take his revenge, he must kill a friend. Surrounded by enemies, with all he has fought for on the line, he lays down his weapons, and then picks them up and turns them on his masters. Like I said, book has no surprises. Veridus is Nathir's first sword, and the closest thing the High King has to a real friend. In Malice, he looks at Nathir with an almost worshipful air. In Valor, they've reached as equal a footing as they're probably going to get between the High King and the son of a second Baron. He's brave, loyal to a fault, and falling in love with Cywin. He also realizes something is amiss. They betrayed King Brennan to King Owen, and then Owen to Queen Rin, all while knowing Rin was behind the conflict between Brennan and Owen to begin with. Yet he saw Calidus turn into a Ben Elm, and everything has happened as the prophecy foretold. At least the prophecy according to Calidus. He and Nathir even have a heart-to-heart how they both feel something is off. But again, Calidus is Ben Elm, a servant of All-Father Elyon. He could not possibly be leading them astray. Right? Right. That leaves Cywin, Corbin's sister, Nathir's captive, and quickly becoming Alcyon's friend. She's probably my favorite character in this, because she gives no fucks. During the fall of Dunkirage, she fell from the battlement. Thinking she was dead, Corbin and his mother fled without her. Left to her own devices, with her only ally, the trusted family hound, she tries to get by. Until Nathir learns she's Corbin's sister, and she becomes his captive. She also tries to kill 2 fully grown, fully trained men. Evades the men placed to spy on her, frees a prisoner, and charges into a battlefield to take back her brother's horse. I love that despite being in the grasp of the enemy, she doesn't need saving. She's no damsel in distress. Her mother taught her to use throwing knives from an early age, and Corbin passed on his warrior training. There's even a point where Veridus tells her to stop trying to kill people. So yeah, no fucks to give. Which brings us back to the title. Valor. Who has it, and who does it? Calidus, of course, never gets his hands dirty. Nathir also never actually does any fighting, following Calidus' lead. He is fully in bed with the forces of Azeroth, in one case literally. Veridus does wade into battle, but only behind the shield wall. He does, however, at one point meet Corbin, who he believes to be the avatar of Azeroth, and challenges him to a one-on-one combat. Corbin is willing to do what is needed to save his sister, even though his forces are vastly outnumbered. He even leads them into an ongoing battle to save her. Gwynne, as I said, gives up his chance at freedom and refuses to kill a friend, despite being a slave to his enemies. Alcyon, despite being bound to Calidus, is not without free will. On more than one occasion, he covers for Cywin. And of course, Cywin keeps trying to kill Ren's first swords, despite being outmatched. In short, the good guys show valor, and the bad guys do not. This is a top-shelf book. On a personal level, I would like a little more subtlety. As I said, there's no surprises here. Corbin is Christ, friend to the outcast. Nathier is kind of an idiot, but his heart's in the right place. I feel so bad for him at the end, I really do. Alcyon is an interesting change. In Malice, he said and did little, so getting to see him as a more fully formed character is nice. Especially since it turns out he isn't at Calidus' beck and call by his own choice. He still makes his own choices, including shielding Cywin with his own body. I greatly look forward to the next book. Thank you for your time. I know everyone's mileage will vary, so feel free to leave your thoughts.